Hey guys, today in this podcast, we're going to talk about multiple holes. And what I mean by that is especially if you're younger in business or in life, whatever endeavor you're taking on, and you think that, many people do that where they think that they have to invest in multiple things to get rich. Maybe they grew something early on. They grew something for 5 years and they think that they can already, okay, let me invest on something else to grow something else. Let me dig another hole. Some people do it in less than 1 year when they haven't grown anything but wanted to dig multiple holes and do a bunch of things. That is a huge mistake. That is a huge mistake due to the reason that when you're early on, you think that it's the vehicle that's gonna make you successful, but it's not. It's on you. You can do whatever you do, whatever investment, whatever business you get in. Try not to commit that mistake of thinking that it's not. It's something that's gonna make you rich. I hear so many people saying that, that guy is doing that business now. That's generating a lot of money. That business is good. Whatever industry it is. They don't say, that business is bringing money now. I hear that a lot. And we know that that's a broken mentality to have, thinking where people, that normally happens when you don't take responsibility for yourself. This is more of our previous episode where we talk about passive income comes through hard work. So if anyone is looking into getting into this entrepreneurial world, or even in business, I'm talking about you working for somebody else or having a new endeavor or taking on a bunch of opportunities, thinking that that's going to make you rich. It's not that. It's not the thing. It's you. It's yourself. You can generate wealth. The previous podcast is great because we talked about we're getting in real estate, but this one we're definitely going to talk about the multiple holes and how you have to watch out for yourself and not getting trapped into thinking that that's something you should do early on just because you see the super wealth people doing it, investing money in multiple things, going wide. We see examples of Warren Buffett doing that. Warren Buffett once was the richest man in the world, and he went wide. He invested in multiple things. But what we have to see is how did he create all the wealth. That doesn't mean because he does that we have to do it early on, because we have to also know that he did it after he got rich. What I'm saying is that after he got rich, that's when he went wide and invested and he dig multiple holes. Early on, he invested on one thing, one or two things. It was maximum that he invested. Then he went wide. After he got rich, he went wide. He digged in more holes, and there is a reason for that. There is a reason why a lot of people commit the mistake of thinking that they did enough on one thing and it's time to jump for the other. It's not a reality. So stay tuned with the introduction here, and we jump right into it. It's going to be a short podcast today.
Welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, the only podcast that will guide you on how to start and grow six-figure companies. As our team expand from one business location to worldwide domination, you will get step-by-step insights from a millennial franchisor and franchise owner with your host, Andre Mezzalera.
Dude, I hear from so many Brazilians, and I'm going to say, dude, I'm talking to you guys. I hear from so many people actually who starts in business, and they are early on whatever endeavor they are doing early on, and they already want to get to doing multiple things, multiple holes. They have, perhaps they're working on something, on a project or working actual work. And then they hear of this opportunity that a friend of theirs, they found that they're doing this business or they're doing this type of work and it's generating money. And then they get excited on it. Sometimes it happens a lot in network marketing too. And they're like, this is generating money. Let me jump into that. Let me do that also. That's when it's kind of a broken mentality to think that way, to think that that's how you become rich. Gambling. That I consider that called gambling. And that's a huge mistake. But the one thing that we're talking today about investing in multiple holes is, why should you focus on one thing early on? Why should you, even if you like to do multiple things? The reason being is, one of the excuses that people make that they wanted to jump into multiple things is that they start on one thing that they think they enjoy. They start on one business, on one job that they think they enjoy a lot, or number two, they think it's gonna bring return. If you're working for money or if you're working because you enjoy it, either or, that's gonna fade away. Because if you're working with money and then you make that money and you're not never gonna be satisfied, you're never gonna be happy. If you work because you're super excited at first, or super, yes, that's it. If you work because you're super excited about doing that work, after 2 or 3 months, that early excitement's gonna go away, and you're not gonna it's gonna be this back on it, and then you're gonna want to dig another hole, do another thing, because you think that the previous thing wasn't making you excited. You jump to another thing, and then the cycle continues. Where you do multiple things, you never grow one hole. There is one thing that will make you happy, though, and it can't be driven by money, and it cannot be driven by that early excitement. The early thrill of doing, oh, I'm so excited, let me do it right now, let me do it today, I'm gonna do it, I'm not gonna stop. A lot of people say, like going to the gym. I do it myself. Get excited about going to the gym. I'm gonna go far on it because I'm excited now. And then we fail because we don't have that deep purpose. And the purpose is what drives somebody. The purpose, what's their goal? And their goal has to be a big vision. Their goals has to be big. Because if you have anybody's shooting for a small goal, for a middle average goal, the average goal is what a goal that can compare to anybody. Like, oh, my goal is to have this, live well, and blah blah blah. They're not gonna work enough and not gonna get excitement enough out of their lives, and it's never gonna be fulfilled because their goal is not massive. Your goal has to be so extraordinary that people think it's crazy. Even you sometimes to yourself think, oh, I'm crazy to have this goal. But have that big, because that's what creates purpose in life. You shooting for that high thing, because the purpose is driven, what I see, by goals. That's what I see. If you have one goal in mind that you really want to achieve it bad, and sometimes you have to train yourself to achieve that goal. That's when you're gonna be doing your daily things because of your purpose, and not because the money, or because of that early on excitement. And that's the reason you have to have bigger goals, because if you have average goals, you're gonna reach those goals every month, and it's gonna fade away. You're not gonna see the importance of your work every day because it's so easy to achieve or to reach, like everybody else is doing. That's what creates the excuse of you wanting to do multiple things, doing multiple holes. Even if you own a business, if you're 3, 4, 5 years in business, which it's still considered a startup. Whatever business you have, you're 5 years in, it's still considered a startup. It can be a huge business. It can be generating a lot of money. That doesn't mean it's not a startup. And on that startup point, it takes time to build a huge business. And a lot of entrepreneurs, that's early on, they wanted to dig, they open that one business and they think, oh, now I have time, or early on, let's say they're the first year in their business. They're creating the business and they have time, right? Because they don't have clients, they don't have the demand for what they're offering, which is normal to not have that many clients at first. You're still in this process of stepping up, but the time that you have extra, you should be promoting your business. And if you use that time to grow another business because you think, oh, I have time now, I can do something else, I can grow another business, dig another hole. After 2 years, when the first business that you did is going to require you a lot of time, 2, 3, 4 years, and then you have another business to run, you're not going to give your all for the first business that you started. Because you dig the second hole in the first year in business, thinking that you should do that because you have extra time. I'm not talking about having a job. If you're digging a business and you have if you're in the first year in business and you have a job at first, which is really smart to have, to fulfill that time and make the money that you gotta make money to live. Because the business may not generate money in the first year, so that's okay. But if you go from another business with the mentality that you have extra time, you will have time to grow two things at the same time because you like that and you like that. That's a mistake, because when you're digging on one hole and digging on the other, after 1 year, when that one business is gonna require you more time of growth, you're gonna divide. You're gonna share the time with one business, your second business, and they both are gonna grow in a part-time way. And whatever work that you do part-time, you're gonna get part-time results. Just like a lot of real estate agents, for example. The reason real estate agents is known to make, on the average in the bureau, you can see that they don't make normally more than $50,000 a year. It's not that they don't make. It's not that you can't make more than $50,000 a year. It's that the majority of real estate agents, they work part-time. Majority of real estate agents, they go 9 to 5. Go to work at 9 a.m. Leave work at 5 p.m. That's the 9 to 5. Treat it as a normal job, or come back home early. You don't work it as a business. If you work it as a business, you're gonna make money. You're gonna make big money. And the business world, it requires every single bit of your time. The problem with the real estate agents that it says that they make little money is because the majority of them works part-time, because they don't treat it as a business. And it seems like that business doesn't generate money, which it does. And so if you're digging multiple holes at first, because again, the example that I used earlier on this podcast, you have extra time. You are going to have extra time at first. Get a second job, but work on your business, treating it as a full-time, because eventually you should be digging that one hole, that one business with your strengths. Because if you have the purpose turned on, that's not the money or the early on excitement, which does die. What it's going to last to you is the passion to grow that business, the passion to grow that vision. And you're going to put your full time, your full attention into that business. And if you're digging another hole, that won't happen. Enjoying something, knowing that you enjoy the process. Me personally, I enjoy growing a mobile business, and the potential is there in me. If I enjoy the business of real estate and I put so much time and effort into it, I would grow just as I'm growing this business. Again, it's not the business itself, it's what you are doing. But okay, going back a little bit more practical, it is important that if you want to start another endeavor, or one endeavor, if you want to, I started one thing, I started the other. I don't know what I like. I don't know what to do. Or maybe you have something in mind that you're like, oh, I enjoy this a little bit more. I'm talking more about opening a business now. And the most important thing is that if you want to do something that you actually enjoy, the style of business, not necessarily the business itself, but the style of the business. Let's say you love cupcakes, but you don't like to sell cupcakes, so that's not very good. But if you enjoy selling cupcakes as a business, don't like the cupcakes themselves, but enjoy selling them, that same style of business, that's a good thing. Because once throughout the years, but you have to have the high goal in mind. You want to grow that thing big, to have that purpose, to grow, to be the best, the most well-known, recognized, if that's your goal, cupcake seller in the world. You have a high goal, you're going to achieve that, you're going to be happy doing it. And when the times are bad times in business, and you have to be irrational to be able to continue doing the business. What is gonna save you? Because it's gonna be so easy to give up. But what's gonna save you is the purpose, the love that you have towards the business. So if you want to get in one business, make sure, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, not because I'm excited right now to do this thing, but because I actually enjoy it. Because if you get in another business because you're excited now, not because you have the purpose to grow the business immensely, give it a month, give it 2 months, that excitement's gonna go away, and you're gonna be back on that cycle of, oh, let me start something else, blaming not yourself, blaming the business. So every business, there's potential. There you can grow any business to any level. You can do whatever it is, whatever you want to grow. Don't say, well, I don't want to start this because it doesn't bring money. Everything will bring money equally. You invest in the business of having real estate, or you invest in the business of selling cupcakes. Both businesses can be with a big amount of time, because you should be getting the fruits of your work 20, 30 years from now, the time you start the business. Both business can bring money, the same amount of profit. Both business, the business of real estate, if you think about it, and the business of selling cupcakes. Because the amount of work that you're going to be learning about how to do something, sell real estate and invest in real estate, and in return having those clients back, and you put the same amount of work, hard work, to knowing everything about selling cupcakes, both businesses will generate money. So always know, it's up to you. So what do you want to start? What do you want to do? You get that going, dig that one hole. Don't go jump from one to another, because then you're never going to have that one thing that you enjoy, and you're going to live your life. That's what happens with many people. You're going to live your life jumping from one thing and never be satisfied or fulfilled, because you don't have the purpose, of fighting for something, to grow something. You're going to be growing a bunch of other things, which is problematic. It's problematic at certain points. Am I saying that it's terrible? It's wrong to grow two things at the same time? Not necessarily. There are ways to do it. There are ways to do two things at the same time. But if you're doing two things at the same time, grow another business because you lost that excitement on one business, that's when you enter in that cycle that is wrong, because you're never gonna get anything out of it. So have that focus, have the big goal. Know that digging one hole or digging multiple holes, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be more safe digging multiple holes, because you're digging multiple holes. In 5 years, you have 3 businesses. A recession comes, you'll be like, oh, I have the other business to save me. That's a lot of immature people think. When I say mature, is in business, that don't really understand. When that timing of recession comes, all the business is going to get hit the same. You're still going to have a little bit of clients in each business. And now the argument that people make is, okay, I'm 5 years in, I have 3 businesses, or I'm 5 years in, I have 1 business, and I get hit. I lose 50% of my clients in each business. Then I'm going to have a certain amount of clients on 1, 2, and 3, and it's going to count to a lot of clients, right? And if I have a lot of clients in one business only, a recession hits, and I lose 50% of those clients, I'm going to have less clients. That's not the reality. You're not going to have less clients. You're going to have the same amount of clients, because the 5 years that you took to grow the 3 business, they don't profit. They're not going to profit as much individually as if you're not going to have as much client on the 3 of them individually as if you were to have grown one business. If you were to give the 5 years time to grow one business with all your time that you have, one business, that business is going to be bigger, and you lose 50% of a bigger business, it's going to count to the same of you losing 50% of 3 small businesses. And you tell me, no, I'm gonna have 3 big businesses, I'm gonna allocate time to grow 3 big businesses. Trust me, if you're separating your time well, you have 12 hours in a day, and you're using those 12 hours to grow one business, you're gonna grow huge. If you're separating those 12 hours to grow 3 businesses, it's all about math. It's all about numbers. To grow 3 businesses, they are going to be smaller. They're going to be smaller as one. It's not wrong to do that, but don't do that with that mentality, thinking that you're going to be safe. There's no such thing. You can create stability by growing a huge business, growing a stable, growing a foundation, growing it big, and collect your fruits after 20, 30 years, and where it becomes passive, as like the past podcast that we talked about. But having multiple business doesn't make it safe, doesn't make you in a better position, because mathematically, if you calculate the amount of hours that you put in the 3 businesses or in one business, if you divide that amount of time and really in your day, calculate it, whatever you do, and you're going to realize that in the recession, you may lose the same amount of money, and when times are good, you may gain the same amount of money. The thing about digging multiple holes now, let's say you grow something big, and you're going to grow something else, which rich people also do. They invest in other things. They spread out their investments to make it safe. When people say make it safe, that doesn't work for early on. That's a trap the bankers made for you to invest in mutual funds with them when you don't understand and you think that you're safe. But if you reach a point to where, okay, I'm growing a huge business now, it can operate by itself, and I made the business grow on itself, and now you have extra time because you grew the business big enough. Now that's when other people starting to apply the same business knowledge that they have in other ones, in other business or other endeavors. That applies to everything in life. That if you're working for somebody, for example, or doing something, not necessarily owning a business, this applies to everything. So at the end of the day, be great at what you do. Learn everything about what you're doing if you're working for somebody else or if you own your own business. Whatever you do, be great at it. Give it your best. Set huge goals. And know that everything is completely up to you. And it's not that one business that's going to make it easier to become rich, or that one investment that's going to be easier to make you rich. It's completely up to you. It's the amount of work accumulated over time that equals the wealth that you have.